preparation or rough shape, scales ready. Next steps: drilling the holes, grinding the bevel, and applying the clay. I think you know me by now, and like with everything, I like to simplify also with drilling the holes. So what I do is grab a divider, I think it's English word, and just follow the contour. In this case it was a little bit too big. The lines are not visible probably on the camera, but they're good enough for me. I can see them well. I will go also on the other side, and of course, because I didn't move the divider, now the somewhere between this line and this line is the middle. We will grab the stuff for marking the holes, which, by the way, I have constant problems with because it's getting always dull. I sharpened it, let's say. I heat treated it, but it doesn't matter. It's always, you know, getting blunt by the first shot. So here's the one there. So what I will do now is again do this, and you can imagine I have the halfway, I have the distance between the holes, so I'm pretty sure all of them are equally separated. Yeah, so I look for the lines a little bit, just making sure I don't do anything silly. There we go, 1, 2, 3. This distance is roughly the same, so this will be 6 millimeters hole for the pins, and then 4 millimeters hole I will make just to allow the glue to grab through the plate, so it just adds a little bit extra to the strength, and that's it. Here we go, drilling the holes. So this is done. Now 4 millimeters for the, how should we say, glue pass through. Sort of rhymes, you know? All the holes are drilled. Now take out a huge drill bit. And just quickly take out the done. As we are making good progress, we can try and grind the bevels. Now, I left quite a thickness, but still, this is a big knife, so I will take out the edges a little bit in order to try to minimize the possibility of cracking during the heat treatment. Nothing fancy, just take out the sharp edge, so make it a little bit round also here, but here there's no big chance, so yeah. But I'm just thinking, before the heat treatment I need to figure out what to do with this part. If I heat treat the knife and this is hard, it will be a pain to do anything. But we will see. Anyway, clay is next. As we progress so well, I hope I don't jinx it, we can move on to the applying the clay. What I use is satinite. Tried a couple of other things, still not 100% sure whether something else can be used, but this one works. This I'm sure of. So with this build I will not experiment. So you can see a bit of clay or satinite, a bit of water. Be careful with the water, because the paste that you want to do should be just the right thickness or viscosity, or how do you call it. If it's too dry, we will have problem applying it. If it's too watery, we will apply it, but it will not stay there. So just the right amount, and yeah, that there's no, you can see I go drop by drop. I don't have like a recipe. But this looks about right. Now, if you follow my channel or my social media and stuff, you will see that sometimes I chase that cloud shape. But for this build, I was asked to do in a way where it's more like a line, a relatively straight line. And to be honest, I also kind of like it because that one is more deterministic, if you want. So you can see I will use almost everything that I prepared. I assume you know why the idea of the hamon, but for those who don't, I will explain. So back in the days when the sword was one of the primary, if not the primary weapon, of course it was used daily, or yeah, we can say daily, in combat, in real combat. Of course, swords clashed, and you can imagine that if during that clash your sword broke, that meant only one thing, and that means game over for you. So they took their stuff very seriously. And in Japan, I'm not sure if there was any other region of the world that used the same technique, but in Japan, used to, apart from other solutions like combinations of soft core or soft back, two types of steel that was used in katana. For example, soft core with a hard outer layer, or high carbon outer layer, which meant, of course, harder. And the soft core meant that the blade made in such a way was able to withstand or absorb some of the shock of two blades clashing together. So, and one other thing that was done was differential heat treatment, we call it today. And it meant that clay was applied before the heat treatment, and this meant that the part where the clay was applied, the overall heat treatment process didn't harden the blade as much as where the clay was not present. And this was typically front or the cutting edge was hard and the back was soft. So that's the story behind the hamon. Essentially, it was also, of course, Japanese love for beauty, in every aspect of life. They were searching it everywhere, so also with the build of katana. And yeah, the visual appeal, visually appealing blade was also one of the things, So in modern days, with this type of steel, which is, coming out of the controlled production, the steel is much more cleaner, and let's say better. And also you can imagine that with the knife you will not be going head to head with somebody and fight. So there is no need for that practical or combat aspect, but still, you know, for certain cases, you know, making sure your knife doesn't break if you hit too hard on the wood, or drops on some rocks or whatever. But the reason why I do it is actually strictly visual. So applied a decent amount of clay, and now just doing some marks. Now these marks, they will typically not cause much of the difference, but it will be a little bit, the line will be a little bit broken, so it will be more, let's say, dynamic, not just the line. So that's the idea behind this. When I was doing the clouds in the quotation marks, I was driving this all the way down to the edge, and yeah, was nice, but also let's go back to this. Now, what I learned the hard way, of course, is that if the clay is applied, let's say, uneven, or there is much more clay on one side and than on the other, it might tend to affect in the same way as if you grind the bevel before the heat treatment, and it would, for example, the center of the bevel would be extremely left or right. That could mean distortion of the blade during the heat treatment. So if that happens to you and you wonder why, check your grinds before the heat treatment and make sure they are as even as possible. So here we are. As I mixed, I really want to make this as thick as possible. What will also happen is, you know, that my blades are typically etched, so I keep them dark, and the part of the steel which is not heat treated, or it's not hardened, it will not etch as much or will not be as dark. So it should be a nice difference in the let's say not the color, yeah, well, the color. So one would be more grayish, and the other part will be more dark. So that's it. The clay is applied, and we hope for the best during the heat treatment. Typically with the satinite, I learned again the hard way that is best to keep it, you know, let's say at least 12 hours to harden. Otherwise, when you apply the fire, as I do it, it tends to pop off. So then you are back to square one. So that's it for today. So we did some stuff, and now we can go rest a little bit.